Welcome to Between the Pages. I'm your host, Markayla, and tonight we have Wahida Clark and Niccole Simmons from 21 Street. Guys, welcome. And we're here to talk about a special project that's going on. Let me introduce you guys. Wahida, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fantastic, Miss Markila. Thank you so much for having us, and we are
Yes.
excited to be here. Thank you. I am Wahida Clark, the official queen of street literature, and I am checking in tonight with Markila between the pages.
Yes. How you doing, Nicole? How are you?
Good, Markila. Thank you for having us. I'm Niccole from 21st Street Publishing Group and happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you guys for coming on this platform and sharing. So let's jump on in it. So what you guys got cooking?
For the past few years, Miss Niccole Simmons right here, she's been working diligently on this project of prison distribution. Now, those of us with books, we know how hard it is getting your books into the prisons. Sometimes they get in, the next thing you know, you look in your mailbox, they done sent it back because the cover is not to their satisfaction, or they just straight out hating. And, the people in the prison, they like, we ordered the books for a reason. These are the books that we like to read. So why are we getting why is my stuff getting turned away? So Niccole been, like I said, she's been working diligently on this distribution program, and I'm just excited that she has invited me to collaborate with her. So this is my partner in crime of 21st Street Publishing, Miss Niccole Simmons. Introduce yourself, ma'am.
Yes.
My name is Niccole with the 21st Street Publishing Group. And since 2007, we have been working with authors, whether it be editing, typesetting, and then eventually distribution. And so around 2010, 2011, we really stopped selling paperbacks except to inmates. They were dominantly who was buying paperbacks from us. So at that time, we decided to create a catalog that we would send to inmates. So we had a mailing list of over 10,000 inmates that we would send catalogs to. Then in 2017, or I think 2000, yeah, the end of 2017, when all of the institutions started getting tablets, they were trying to move over to ebooks only. So it was again like the ebook thing was stopping us again. And so at that time, I was like, okay, well, we have to figure out how we're going to get these books on the tablets. So worked for a while with a lot of barriers because it's very hard. It's probably easier to contact the president of the United States than it is to communicate with a tablet provider.
I
So,
believe it.
yeah, it's very difficult. Um, they're their own entity and they don't want anybody in. And so it was, I don't want to call them predatory, but it did seem like there was some predatory practices going on with them selling ebooks that were free, that were from the Gutenberg, downloaded from the Gutenberg project, and then they were charging inmates for them. And so it was at that time, and but they weren't letting in anybody else. They were taking these free books and they were selling them for profit. So it was at that time that it was like, okay, like we have to pick a side. Either we are going to advocate against them entirely, or we have to figure out a way that we can work with them where it's beneficial to everybody. And so that was a struggle because that was a lot of years of meeting with wardens, sheriffs, lawmakers, elected officials, um, just everybody who was involved in deciding whether it was constitutional to even sell books in the first place. Meeting with all of those different people and entities to find out how do we do this in a way that is beneficial to everybody and most importantly to our clients, because inmates are our clients. And so at 21st Street, like, we want to make sure that we serve them first because they are our clients. So how do we serve them, but at the same time, abide by laws, regulations, follow the rules? So it was years of background work to get to the point where we're at now.
Awesome, awesome. And what does
And
this,
so how can I do this without the queen of urban fiction? Right?
right?
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
I'm really honored to be working with Wahida, and we also work with another entity that's overseas. They're in the UK, the Book Dragon. They're also an independent book distributor, and so we've collaborated with them as well. So me, Wahida, and Christy from the Book Dragon have really been working diligently to make this happen. And finally, last month, we got the books out on tablets.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been
So
very exciting.
Wahida, when you came on to Between the Pages before, you had your own backstory of how the process was for you when you first started writing. Um, can you give us recap on that just a little bit so they'll know like why you even feel like this is close to your heart, something you wanted to do?
That's a good point. Very good point. Right. I started writing, fell upon it by happenstance. I didn't know I could write, never planned on writing, but I was in Lexington, Kentucky, had just got transferred from Phoenix, Arizona, just got sentenced to 10.5 years in federal prison. So after the court, I waited for a few months or almost a year, and they finally shipped me to Lexington, Kentucky Women's Federal Prison Camp. So in the federal system, everybody has to work. I mean, you have to be half dead not to have a job. So my job at the time, I taught computer classes at night, and I was the librarian during the day. So after I got situated, I said, okay, I got to do this time, Wahida, stuff it up and handle your business. So I had called home and I asked my family, my niece had answered the phone, Keisha, I said, send me some money. I'm at the prison camp now. It costs money to wash clothes. It costs money to buy soap powder. It costs money to buy food. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, everything costs money in this place. So she said, we'll see what we can do. So I said, what do you mean you'll see what we can do? I left money out there. She said, Wahida, you're not out here to run your businesses. Your husband is, of course, he was incarcerated at the time. We have your 2 teenage daughters. They're foreclosing your house. They're repossessing your cars. Actually, we are packing up and we're moving back up to New Jersey. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I hung up that phone call, went to my room, cried first, then I prayed. And I said, Lord, what am I going to do? I need money while I'm in here. I left my 2 girls out there. My husband is locked up. And when I get home, I need to have a cushion. What am I going to do? So, like I said, my job was the library. So I'm in the library shortly after that prayer. And I pick up a magazine. It was either a Source or XXL. And there was a picture in there of this bald-headed brother named Shannon Holmes, and he had wrote the book called Be More Careful. And they said he was in prison. So I'm like, what? This dude is in prison. He wrote a book. And I'm like, wow. And then he's in the XXL or whichever hip hop magazine it was. Those were popping at the time. They were hot. So I'm like, wow. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, this dude is in prison. He wrote a book, and I'm looking at all the books on the bookshelves. So I said, shoot, I can write me a book. I said, first, before I said I'm gonna write a book, I start visualizing my name on the spines of all the books on the shelves. Wahida Clark, Wahida Clark. And I'm like, wow. So shortly after that, I said, immediately after that, I said, I'm gonna write a book. But shortly afterwards, a lady that was in the prison, her job on the streets was a literary agent. And she had asked the camp administrator, could she do a class on creative writing? So she was granted that. I took the class. and I got published. So that was how I started writing. It wasn't planned. I just had to figure out a way to make some money while I was in prison. And like I said, regarding the distribution, you know, I was in prison, so you receive books, some get denied, sometimes they take your books, and it's always something with the books, and especially our books. It's always a problem. They don't like the cover. There's a gun on the cover. There's a boob on the cover. It's always giving you some type of drama. And for years, I had always told my family, we got to figure out how we can get distribution directly into the prisons. And a couple of times, Niccole had reached out to me on LinkedIn. And I was like, who is this? Who is this lady? And then when I seen what she was doing, I said, she done stole my idea. And I had just hired someone to help me complete that mission. And I'm like, but you know what? Something said, reach out to her, answer her anyway. And I answered her, and lo and behold, here we are.
Wow. That was supposed to happen.
Yep.
And Niccole, what other person to have do it but Queen of Street Lit?
Right.
The Queen of the Street Lit. What other person to have to do it? All right, so go ahead. Let's jump in and tell us how
We can
other
hardly hear you, Niccole. We still can't hardly
Well,
hear you, Nicole.
I was gonna say there was no way that I would wanted to do this without having Wahida Clark books available, because that's what everybody wants to read. And so I was a bugaboo. I was like, hey, can we get together? Hey, can we talk? Hey, I have something I want to share with you.
right.
And she did. She was persistent.
Yeah. And I just really and I tell Wahida this all the time, like, there was a point where I was like, God, I know you have something more for me. I know that there's something more that I can do aside editing urban fiction. While urban fiction has been very good to me, I just felt like there was something more that I should be doing. And while I was thinking that, I was listening to some ministry, and it was Joyce Meyer, and she said, wherever you are, let God use you. So if you're the garbage man, be the best garbage man there is. If you're the postman, be the best postman there is. And whoever, however you work and whatever you do, make sure that you serve the people that you work for. And so since I've kind of taken that approach, like, I want to do God's work, like, and this is where God has put me, and so I want to do his work. Like, I like the authors that we work with, like, I want to get it to where our authors are doing so well that they can, make writing their full-time job. Like, I really want to serve them, and I really feel that me and Wahida came together right at the time that we were supposed to come together. Because had we come together a year before when I reached out, this process has been so long. I have some authors that have been with me for 5 years waiting on this. And so the timing was God's timing, everything was perfect. And I really feel like this is a spirit-led venture that we're doing. And some people might say, oh, well, urban fiction, how it is. We are doing something that I feel is spirit led, and it's prayed on every day. So I am fully confident in the success of it.
Well, look at that. Look at God. Look at that.
Yeah,
Um,
God is.
now how can, okay, first question. There are, I don't know, over, I think we've got maybe like 200 and something authors inside of the Authors Lounge, that inside of Between the Pages Authors Lounge. I think it's over 200 authors in that group. Some of them are incarcerated. Is this something they could take advantage of, or are they can't take advantage of this?
No, they can fully take advantage of it. We actually, I would love for incarcerated authors to let us share their work. I think that something inevitably we want to work on is some kind of portal where specifically incarcerated authors will be able to submit their work. Because I think it's important that they have an opportunity to get their work sold. Because when you're incarcerated, you have to have somebody on the outside that's going to put your stuff up on, Amazon or whatever outlet it is. But you don't necessarily have somebody that's really cheerleading for you and advocating for you. And so I hope that that's what we grow into, as somebody that can really support and advocate for all authors, all independent authors, and especially the ones that are incarcerated, because it's because of incarcerated readers that we're able to even do this.
Okay. Nowadays, you got publishers that are allowing authors that are published to have indie work and have do their publishing work. Do that apply to them?
Well, this is, yeah, it's non-exclusive, so,
Okay.
they can be independent, they can be with a major and still have, their own works on the side. We welcome it all, but of course, the prisons have, can't be no, get,
Gang.
yeah, the stuff that the prison don't want. What are their criteria, Niccole?
So I have that because I think it's really important that we share that. So here's the content that would be prevented from us distributing it. Anything that teaches or advocates violence or hatred or presents a danger to the institution's security and order, anything that teaches or advocates behavior that violates the law of the state of the United States. Anything that teaches or describes the manufacturing or use of weapons, explosive, drugs, or intoxicating substances. Anything that teaches the manufacturing or use of devices that create a substantial danger or physical harm to others. And there is one more page here. Anything that is pornographic, anything that poses a threat to the security, operation, or discipline or safety of the institution, anything that poses a threat to the safety, treatment, or rehabilitative goals of an inmate, anything that facilitates criminal activity, any content or information, if communicated, would create a clear danger of physical, mental harm, or anything that teaches or advocates illegal activity. Now, that means like teaches or organizes. So if you have an urban fiction novel that has criminal activity in it, that content is okay. You just can't teach how to organize it or structure it. So according to the Library Bill of Rights, that is with the Inmate Library Bill of Rights, which is within the Library Bill of Rights in the United States Constitution, this is the only content that can be excluded. So a lot of times institutions are rejecting works that constitutionally they shouldn't
Mhm.
be. And so one of the things that we started doing is we changed it. So like, and we made them commissary editions. And so that means that we changed the covers. And so they're just like black with white writing, no matter what the title is.
Okay.
And so this way, institutions, because a lot of titles were being rejected, saying, oh, the cover imagery, like, it's unacceptable, it's pornographic, or
Yeah.
it has guns and drugs on it, so we can reject it. So this is the way that we get around them unconstitutionally rejecting material that's content doesn't violate any of their rules.
Okay. Okay. Because that was one of the questions. Because a lot of times you have some criminal activities. Well, it's a fiction world, it's a fiction book. So you have them, the queen herself write street lit. So, yeah, so you want to know if them guidelines.
How gritty, if my stuff gets in, and my stuff is pretty gritty, so I think that, I mean, that opens the door for a whole bunch of other titles.
Now,
So,
when did this kick off for you guys?
Last month we went live, right?
Yeah.
just last month we went, well, actually 3 weeks ago we just went live. And so we're starting off small, that in the smallest facilities they have with the least amount of inmates, like one jail had 3, and so, but the goal of the tablet provider, like their first and foremost priority is to make sure that it's a seamless integration, because they don't want any disruption to their living quarters. I mean, And so it's a slow rollout to make sure that everything goes okay. There's no glitches. And just for example, the first week that we did it, and we're like, yay, we're on our way, let's go. And then we found out that only the titles went out, but not the synopsises didn't go with them, so, or the author's name. So it was like a list of titles. So it's been a long process to make sure that everything is smooth in with the integration of it, because the tablets aren't connected to they're not connected to the internet, or they don't have any Bluetooth capabilities. So they're just connected to the network within the facility. So it's, you have, when you're putting it into each facility, then you have to make sure that it works. So like what works at one might have a glitch at another. So it's a really slow rollout, but by next year we should be all over the country.
Yes.
And
Well,
someone just put in the chat, because when she held up the cover, so she said, wow, we have to get the cover changed, so that means the interior has to be changed. No, the interior doesn't have to be changed as long as your words isn't saying teach somebody how to kill a guard, or the stuff that the prison doesn't want, that's not allowed. But no, you don't have to change your book's content. And y'all know my content is racy, kill them up, shoot them up, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
yes. All right, so how can authors be a part of this?
Right here, info.wcpdistribution.com if they're here in the United States. If not, and authors in the UK, they go to the bookdragonuk.com. Is that correct, Niccole?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. It's bookdragon.uk.
Gotcha.
And that's for any authors outside the United States. So that's Canada, the UK, anywhere that's not outside of the US.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Wahida, how have you been enjoying this new rollout?
Like she said, it's work. Anything to do with prisons, it's always a challenge, because you have inmates, you have the security of the prison to think about, the general running of the facility. So, but I'm excited. I'm so glad Niccole was diligent for all of these years on, making this happen. So we're just more excited, just making things run smooth on our end with the uploading process, with the promo. And tell them about the social media site that the authors, that the prison tablet provider wants the authors to take part in. And speak up a little bit so they can hear you.
Okay. So the inmate tablet provider that we're working with is Sidnet. And Sidnet, and I'm really honored that we're working with them, because they have the same point of view that we do, that incarcerated people are our clients, and that's who we want to serve, and we want to serve them in the best way that we can. And so they've created a site that's called Sid Space. It's SPACE, and it's just like Facebook, but it's a site for people who have been impacted by incarceration. And so while people are on the site, like if they put up a post, or if they like something, or if they comment on something, every time they do that, they get a point. And these points can be used for data. So once a user of SidSpace gets to 100 points, they can convert that to 10 megabytes of data. And then they have an opportunity to change that in, and they can make a phone call, they can get a video call, they can do whatever they want to, emails, whatever they want to do it for free. And also, the books are being sold in the Sid store as well. And so that means if some
Oh, wow, she froze.
Mhm. Yeah.
So what she was getting ready to say, that means if an inmate sees a book that they want to purchase, they click the link and it goes to everybody that's in their network on their list and say, look, I want to read this book. Somebody buy it from me for me, or you guys buy it and we can read it together. So it's like promo to your whole network. So for let's say Miss Griffin has a book and it's in the Sid store. So an inmate sees her book and wants to buy it. They click on it, and the inmate's 10 family members get the same email, and they see a picture of the book, and they can check it out as well.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
cool or what? And they have a social media. They have social media spot. There she is. She's back.
I am so sorry about that. So, so at Sid Space, people on the outside, free people, they can also buy books from the Sid store. And when they do, they get 300 points also so that they can communicate with their loved ones. So that's the tablet provider's way of kind of giving back to the community. So just by having an account on Sid Space, just by interacting the same way that you do on Facebook, you earn points, and those points can be also donated. So if you don't have somebody that's incarcerated, but you just like social media, and you want to, help people who are impacted by incarceration, just by being on there, you can donate your points to other people. So it's a really neat opportunity and a great way to support people who are affected by incarceration.
Is that cool or what?
Major.
Isn't that cool?
Major. Yeah, that is major.
Yeah,
That is
it's
a major game changer.
it's awesome. And and that's why I'm so glad that we're working with them, because there is there's no benefit to them for having Sit Space. It's just genuinely something that they want to do to help the people that they serve. And when they had me, and they have been just really awesome to work with, and what they had me out to their headquarters, and it was all about, how do we work together to, how do we make this happen? How do we do it in a way that we're lightening the economic impact of reading on incarcerated people? I mean, they are just all in and all about helping the community that they serve. And I think that, in any business, that's how you're successful, when you help the community that you serve.
Yes.
And to dovetail off what Niccole just said, and we're leaving out another big part. Right now, it's just the paperback books, then the tablets, but then movies, film, music.
Mhm. All independent. So like, this is going to give independent artists a platform like never before, and an opportunity to share their work with people who really will enjoy it and appreciate it and want it.
That's big. That's huge. That's huge. Let me put some people like you. Okay. That is a great opportunity. So, pricing wise, is there a fee for authors to sign up, or
The to upload a book is $7.99, and they can format it themselves. But of course, some people, like one of my authors, Mike Sanders, he was like, Wahida, I ain't got time to format this book. So we hire some, we'll format it, but you have to pay for that $69.99, because that's like you laying out an ebook. So that's a 2-3 hour process. But
yeah,
if the author is tech savvy enough, they can do it themselves. They don't have to pay $7.99 to upload it and get it listed, the metadata set up and all that good stuff. So just a measly $8. What is that, a price of a cup of Starbucks and a donut?
Starbucks might be higher.
Oh gosh.
Yes, I go there every day, and I know that they're higher than that, higher than the $7.99. What is the price for the inmate?
The who?
The inmate, the prisoner.
Oh, the prison. Okay.
For paperbacks, it's $17.99, and that includes the shipping. For the ebook price point, we haven't decided on what that'll be yet, but it won't be high.
But it kind of, it's still a benefit there because they're getting these points that they can use.
Yeah.
and then they getting calls and things like that. So it's a win-win situation. I mean, you get in this education, it's still fiction, books. It's it takes a lot of research to do certain things that people talk about inside of the books, and they be facts. So you also learning, and you're also being entertained, and then you're also getting points that you can apply in different ways, right? Is
Right.
that what
And
I'm hearing? Okay.
300 points is, I think it's about a half hour of either phone time, messages, emails. So it's a significant amount, not, just a 10-minute phone call. It's a significant amount that they're donating to anybody who supports these indie authors.
And that's what I was going to add on, that is when you was talking about the benefits, and yes, and also it's engaging. It's something positive that they can talk with their family members with, even if a child, a sibling, a wife, a mother. I'm reading this book. Let's get this book. And then get back on the phone. Did you read this book? She's on going to sit space and set and say hi to her. You see what I'm saying? So it's more engagement for everybody in a positive way. When I was locked up, if we would have had something like this would have been.
Right.
And then on top of that, you talk about with learning. So right
Yeah.
now we do fiction, nonfiction, but courses. People have courses out here. Les Brown, he has a course. Tony Robbins has, people have courses that the inmates will be able to access.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, study Rand, excuse me, Rand Corp is who does the studies for the government. And so Rand Corp has done many studies. And since the tablets have come to the institutions, they have found that it reduces stress, there's less conflict, there's fewer incidents of violence against staff and other inmates. And without exception, an institution that has more books than it does inmates has less violent assaults, without exception. So there is something to having books available to people who are incarcerated.
Well, I'm out here, and I can tell you that benefits of books. I don't remember the last time I watched TV.
Wow.
Because I read, last year I was at 700 books for the year.
Mm.
Wow.
So that was
Oh my.
that was my last year number. This year I'm busy, so I put it at 350 just to see how many I
Wow.
get.
I'm
But I'm at 90
jealous.
books. I'm at 90 books currently, and the amount of knowledge I've learned, um, the way that you can be able to um talk, more. Well, I went to school, but besides that, you can read and be able to articulate certain things, even though it's fiction books. So
It is.
it has made me go through I talked about it before, but I went through grieving, being able to put that all into reading.
Mhm.
So I know reading can impact, it's very
And
impactful.
another thing that we do that we require with the commissary editions that I don't think Wahida mentioned, unless it was when I was off, is that we require a letter to the incarcerated reader from the author that goes in the front of the book, and also book club questions that are specific to the commissary edition that we put in the end, because we do want people to read together with their loved ones on the outside to build that kind of connection, and be able to talk about what they're reading and give them some incentive to, get to the end of the book so we can answer these book club questions together. And so that's something that I'm really, really proud of too, that we have created that opportunity for engagement.
Even with your children, think about the things you can do with your adult children, teenagers, the conversations you can have with your family members as well. So this
Mhm.
is a great system, and I think everybody is winning here.
Yeah.
With the price wise, the points,
Mhm.
everything. I think everybody is winning in this.
And and with all of your authors as well, the ones that are a part of your organization, even if they don't have a book within our distribution, I would encourage them to go onto SidSpace and create an author page, because there is tons of readers there. And, they're always excited when we get a new book up, because the books are getting added slowly, because it's a process. Like, Wahida goes through all these checkpoints, then I go through all these checkpoints, and then I get them up in the cloud, and me and the tablet provider go. So it's a process getting them up there. So it's a slow load, and a couple books might get added, but when they do, it's like really exciting. And so I think that is another outlet and platform for authors to get their work out to people who want to read independent work. And like I said, authors who don't have anybody that is impacted by incarceration right now, they can have contests, or they can do different things that they can engage with their readers, and they can donate their points, to the readers, or donate their points through a contest or something like that. So it's a really good space to acquire new readers for independent authors as well.
Yes, I think, everybody, when they see something new and they see that it's a great thing, they want to know the catch. And I don't see the catch here. Everybody want to know, what is it? What's the catch, Markella? What's gonna happen? How much is this gonna cost me? What I gotta do? What's the drawback from it? So I think, with you guys breaking down every step that's going on with how everything works, I don't see the catch. I see that it's a win
Yeah.
for everyone.
And I think that is because of the past over 5 years that we've spent researching how do we make this, and how do we assure that everybody is benefiting here. Because like I said, I was on the verge of the other side. I was on the verge of, okay, Prison Policy Initiative and Pen America, how can I join you in this fight against these predators with reading, but it was like, we could either take that stand, or we could take the stand of like, let's figure out how we do this so that everybody benefits from it, and that there's something good in it for everybody. So it's really been thought out from every perspective that we could think of, because we want it to be something that's beneficial to everybody that's involved.
And wow, y'all make me think of something else. Seeing the editors on here, and she's saying everybody, even if you don't have a book, to go set up a profile page on the SID store, because it's like social media. And if you're an editor, put in your profile, I'm an editor. Look how many inmates are in prison that have books that need editing, or need an editor. Get on there, introduce yourself, and make yourself known.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a really great community, excuse me, because everybody there is impacted by incarceration. So organically, they get about 50 to 100 new users every day. But everybody on the site at this point, because SidSpace just started late last year. So it's not that old. I think they already have, I don't know, maybe actually, I don't know. I don't want to misquote how many users they have, but they have a lot of users. They're adding 50 to 100 every day. I would say they have hundreds of thousands right now.
So it's
But I mean,
sidspace.com for everybody. CID.
yeah, yes. Communities impacted by detention, I think, is the SID, and then space. But so at this point, I think everybody on there is impacted by incarceration in one way or another. So it's not a nasty place. It's a place where people go, where they're accepted, where they understand each other's plight. And so I think getting in SID space now is also a good opportunity, because just like the people that got in on Facebook when it first started, that have groups that have 100, 200, 500,000 followers, because they've, been there for so long. I think it's a great opportunity for people to get in on something early, because the short-term projection is millions of users. So
That's awesome. Before we just wrap everything up, let's break down the process for the author first. So I got this book. I want you guys to put it in the system. What is the turnaround? What is the steps? Do you guys gotta read it first? Do you gotta, like, what is the steps? Lay out for me.
Info, www.info.wcpdistribution.com. It has the frequently asked questions on there. It has how you upload the book, where you upload the book, the details on laying out the book if you choose to do it yourself. And you upload it, you submit your Word document, $7.99. We need a copy of the cover because on the Sit store, it's the graphic cover, but the paperback versions are black and white because we don't want no problems with the prison rejecting titles. But on the website, everything is pretty laid out. And if you have questions, you can also ask your questions on the website as well, or email us.
And I just have something else to add. So Sid, make sure that Sid Space and Sid Store, those are two different things. So you won't get to one from the other. They're independent of each other. But two, if we do receive content that hasn't been edited properly, that hasn't, it will be formatted properly because we'll reject it if it's not. But if we get to reading it and it hasn't been edited properly, I'm not saying that you have to have it professionally edited, but it has to be edited because we're not going to ask anybody incarcerated to pay for something that has not been professionally produced for them. You know what I
That
mean?
makes
Like I don't want to
perfect.
be harsh, but
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
okay, yeah. And so like in the Book Dragon in the UK, like they reject a lot of titles. Like they have a really, really high standard for what they require of their titles. We haven't we haven't rejected any titles yet, right?
We have one that I'm getting ready to tell her to get with somebody on this.
Okay.
Lena, you, Makila. It's a short book, but when I first opened it up, the first page, it had typo on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did you get this professionally edited? You don't have a typo on the first page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 That's one of the things, even with Amazon, you upload your book, but then when you get it, it's it's a lot of errors. It can be a lot of errors. And then some, if the book don't went out and people don't purchased it.
Hmm.
I think Niccole,
Yeah, Cole, we can't hear you, unfortunately. We see your mouth moving, but we
yeah,
can't hear you.
we
I don't
can't
know.
hear you.
I don't think she can hear us neither.
Okay, okay. Get to yes, where we can.
But maybe she'll get her feedback. What other questions do you have?
That was pretty much it, trying to be able to just understand the process and letting them know the typo. Like you said, typo on the first
On
page
the
is
first page. That's a no-no, people who's watching this, who are authors. Show some dignity. You don't want a typo on the very first page.
well then, and now, it gets to the point where some people upload and it even because of the deadline, they have a deadline. So they upload and have to go back, but it
Yeah,
affects you.
professional authors, they have a deadline. They give themselves time to make sure the book is right. You don't want to put something out there with errors every other page, run-on sentences. Because it takes away, I tell my authors, I said, it takes away the reading of the book. Like one of my gentlemen submitted, he said, Queen, I want you to publish this book. So I had the book and something said, okay, pull it out and start reading it. So I started reading and the book is so good, but it's so many errors in it and run-on sentences. I told him, I said, your book is so good, but it's taken away from the reading because of, the run-on sentences and the typos. That's not a good reading experience. Thank you,
Yeah.
Miss Red, for sharing in your author circle. We appreciate that.
Yes, this is a great thing, Wahida.
Thank you.
This is a thing. This is something that I think. I mean, it's no drawback. So why not take advantage of the situation? You know, why not take advantage of this opportunity when it's no drawback for you? It's nothing from you. How can the inmate or the prison, do they get the review? Do they leave reviews for you or anything like that on the book?
That's a good question, Nicole. Are they able
So,
to?
so right now they're not able to leave reviews, but we do, so in the letter to the reader, we usually ask that the author put their contact information because we do want the author to be able to reach out. I mean, we do want the reader to be able to reach out to the authors, but at this time we don't have a way to review. However, you know, this is something that we're working on. So like that's one of the things that we want to work on. We want to work on a way for the incarcerated readers to leave a review. We also want to work on a way for incarcerated readers to inevitably be able to write their own books right on the tablets to submit to us. So we have a lot of stuff in the works that we want to put in place to help grow this program. But you know, we're in our infancy, even though we're, you know, over 5 years in, we're still babies. So, and growing. And so that is definitely something that we want to do. We want to be able to have a way for it to be rated, because one thing that we don't do is we don't show any preference. So like if you go on the Sid store, those books are so randomly put up there. We don't allow any paid advertising, so nobody can, you know, put their book at the top of the list. But we do want to eventually get to a place where there can be at least a star rating. And
Mhm.
so they can see, you know, how many stars a book has, because at this point, they're only able to go off of the synopsis, and
Mhm.
the inmate does not see the traditional cover.
Yes.
So,
And, you know, we
Oh,
see first. We as humans see first what it looks like, and then we then we read.
yeah,
Yeah, we look first.
yeah.
so
And
the synopsis needs to be really good.
yes,
Yes.
it does. And Miss Karen Robinson, thank you as well for sharing it on your platform. We appreciate it.
Yes. All right, ladies, I thank you guys. Is there anything else you want to share with us before you guys go?
Thank you for having us, and we hope all 200 of your authors
I do
uh,
too.
get on board, and set up your profile on sidspace.com. The other inmates would love to hear from you. Tell them who you are, you know, the title of your book, and go ahead and upload the book. $7.99.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just the
Karen.
price.
Congratulations, Wahida, on the Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You know, I already told you congratulations. I'll tell you every time I talk to you.
Yeah.
Yes, congratulations. Well deserved, well deserved.
And thank you
Overdue,
again,
way
Ms.
overdue,
Robinson.
way
And
overdue.
thank you for giving us the opportunity to share this with you guys.
Oh yeah, so what because this message is for the authors and inmates, is definitely will be benefit if I put this interview inside of the group as well. It's being on YouTube and Spotify. I need to put this inside of the group because those that can't make it and can't share, like I know she works with a lot of people. I know some of the authors that are signed on here as well. It needs to be shared that this is not anything that they can, it's gonna take from them.
Yeah,
And as soon
and
as you get the link, share it with us and we'll share it as well.
yeah, and also if you have like can't wait to get your podcast on the tablets,
Right,
and
right. We didn't say podcast
Mhm.
shows, books,
yeah,
films, movies. So your podcast show can be on the tablet as well.
Oh, really?
What's some of your favorite, actually, this one could be on there. And what's one of your favorite episodes? Because we can start with that. What's one of your best, most popular episodes?
And you know you done been on here, Queen. Know you done been on.
So we need a couple of samples, right?
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Yeah, get us an episode so we can put it on the tablet. And after they get everything set up, they will be getting you'll get paid for views. Is that correct, Miss
Yeah.
Cole?
Yeah. So first we gotta show them, the quality content that we have. We
Right.
have to, get it through a review process to make sure that, this is gonna be acceptable and this is what they're looking for. But as soon as we get that content together to present and get it approved, then we'll be on our way with that. Right now, we're just focusing on the books because, like I said, there's some authors that have been waiting just patiently years and years and probably thought this was never going to come to fruition. So we really want to get them going first and, in appreciation for their loyalty and dedication, sticking with us and waiting this out. But now that we're starting with that process and getting it all smoothed out, we're ready to move on to the next thing, which is the podcast, the independent music, and the independent film.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you talking to the choir because independent music, I know about that. And the podcast name. Now, we'll say this, what I've gathered from you guys tonight is authors. That title needs to be catchy, 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 because that's what they're gonna see. Then that synopsis needs to be flat out go. Because you need to be able to capture them by the title first, because that's what they're gonna see, and the synopsis. If you
Yeah. And so I have to show you, when I went to Nebraska to meet with them for the first time, I took a few books and I made sure that I took this one. Can you read that?
bring them just a little bit closer.
Nope, we can't read it.
Oh, Ain't No Fun When the Thought Got the Sun
Oh,
by Joe Awesome. So
Joe Awesome. You heard of Joe Awesome, right?
Yes, I did.
yes. And so I made sure that I brought a variety of titles because I didn't want, I wanted to make sure, like, look, here's all the stuff we got. So, and do you know everybody loved that title? Ain't no fun when the thought got the sun. So
Now, it's
like
only been 3 weeks. Has he sold one yet? Did anybody buy one yet?
I'm not sure if Joe Awesome did or not.
Okay.
I don't have that list in front of me,
Okay.
but our first three, so we had, what do we have, 3 or 4 the first day?
3.
I think it was 3 or 4 how many was it, Wahida?
3.
3 the first day, and they were all Book Dragon titles.
Yeah.
And they were sci-fi and vampire books. So I mean, we want every genre because there's every kind of reader, and we want to make sure that we have a book for every reader. So this isn't limited to urban fiction or a particular genre. So anybody who has some good work should get it in.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Thank you guys.
Thank you.
This has been great. It's been entertaining. Like really, I've been in here like, okay, what is and write down. Yeah, so this has been great. This is a great opportunity. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Wahida, thank you for coming on, even choosing to bring this to my platform and bringing it to Between the Pages. So I've enjoyed this interview from Niccole. Niccole, you has been very informative. I've gained so much knowledge about I feel like a whole nother world I didn't know nothing about.
Yeah.
So this has been very informative, and educational. Like, this has been great. You guys just hold on tight for me just in case anybody has any questions that they want to see before we get ready to leave.
Yes.
Um,
And
and
thank you
this has
so
been
much for
Between the
sharing.
Pages. Huh?
I said thank you so much for sharing.
Yes. Thank you. I couldn't do this without you. I don't get paid or nothing for this. I actually love what I do. So thank you guys. This is Between the Pages with Markayla. We have Wahida Clark with us, the Queen of Urban Street Lit, and Niccole Simmons. Please take advantage of this. hold on tight. We'll be back.